All right, welcome to Lake Erie College Fall Sports Podcast. My name is Alex Cranmer. I am the head strength coach here at Lake Erie College. We're going to dive into some of our fall sports here and give you a little bit of a preview of how the upcoming season, the 25-26 season, should go. So the first team I'll start with is our volleyball team. Historically, this team has struggled a bit, especially in the past 5 years. We're coming off a 9-20 season, which is a big improvement from the previous season where they only won 3 games. This will be the second year for Coach Caleb Hare. And I know that, in his first season, they made a lot of improvements. The exciting thing about this team is they lost 7 graduates, 7 key contributors. All took off and graduated. So they're a very young team. They only have 1 senior this year. And to me, that's exciting because everybody on this team plays. There's really no one that's riding the bench constantly. Everybody gets minutes. Everybody contributes. And because they're so young, I think that going into the second year, a lot of them will be sophomores. And with that sole senior, I think that this young team is hungry. They had a great off season. They put in a ton of work. I know they were training with me 4 days a week in the spring, on top of skill training and then playing all summer. And they've been getting after it all summer. So it's a very exciting young team. Again, they had an excellent off season. And they had quite a bit of recruits come in. I believe they have 5 recruits coming in. We had a mid-year recruit from a Division I school come in. So she'll be a very good contributor coming up, as well as some other transfers and some freshmen coming in as well. I think the recruits will help pick up where the seniors left off. Lost a lot of seniors, a lot of leadership. And I consider this kind of a changing of the guard season as we bring in some new contributors to the team. So should be really excited time to be a part of Lake Erie College volleyball. And I know their season's coming up here soon. They'll be reporting, I believe, next week. Might be, the next weekend after that. But it should be a very exciting time. And I'm excited to see what Coach Caleb over there, can put together with his team. So that'll be it for volleyball. Next up, we'll talk about men's soccer. Men's soccer is one of our more historically successful teams here. They've gone in a deep run into the playoffs for, all throughout the early 2020s, culminating in a 2022 Final Four appearance at the national level where they were defeated by the number 1 team in the country. And it was only by 1 goal, so we were right there. We could have made that national championship game. Just wasn't that year. Last year, it's funny, they considered it a down year. They went 9-7 with 3 ties, and they had a first-round GMAC exit, lost to Kentucky Wesleyan in penalty kicks. So really heartbreaking end of the year. Lost some key contributors, especially some international students who, a lot of Spaniards on the team that were really, really talented players. With that said, they reloaded this summer or this off season with a lot of international transfers. And the big thing, and I'm really excited about with this team, is they're slightly rebuilding their culture, especially on mine in the weight room. The culture wasn't great, and that was mostly led by the upperclassmen. They just didn't value the weight room, didn't think it would help them with the sport. Kind of thought, why are we here? While the underclassmen were there to get after it. They worked hard. Never had any issues with effort on that part. We had a wonderful spring. We had a great spring. Kids got stronger. Kids got better. We had some key injuries on this team last year. A couple of major knee injuries that took some key contributors out. So I made sure I did my part in the offseason to try to keep us healthy, and I'll maintain that, throughout the year. But I'm really excited for this team. They're young. They're hungry. They are historically successful. Coach Rolko is a great coach. He has a giant staff. I believe they have 6, coaches just for men's soccer. And it should be a really exciting time to be a part of this team. And they also have a JV team because they're so vast. They have a giant number of kids. So should be a good year for Lake Erie College men's soccer. And I'll be excited to see if they can continue on their past success, into this new season. And that brings me to women's soccer. Women's soccer, historically not as successful, but we hired Coach Carl Contrecoeur this past year, He is a local coach. He's been all over the Division I level, all over all levels, and this is his first head coaching stop. But he's already done a great job implementing his culture, bringing in kids that fit his culture and can help turn this thing around. So they're coming off a 3-13-2 season. So obviously not where they'd like to be. However, there is a little bit of an asterisk on that. They lost majority of their games by 1 goal by a score of 1-0. What that tells me is that their defense held up pretty well. They weren't, getting blown out very often, and most of those losses came in the conference. So we're right there. If we can put the ball into the net this season a little bit more and stop some of those goals as well, I think this team will really turn it around. I think we'll see a lot more wins, and I think overall we'll be more successful. They lost a couple of contributors. Nobody super major, so that's a good sign too. And a lot of starters, a lot of key contributors will be going into their senior year or their grad year this year. So they're going to lean on that experience a little bit. They've got some awesome leadership. Leonie Witt, she is an incredible captain for them and has been leading the charge all offseason. We had a great offseason, and looking forward to the preseason here starting up and getting them ramped up for their first game to come that last week of August. So really exciting time for women's soccer. I think Coach Carl's going to turn them around. I think some of their key contributors, such as Leonie, Abby Pix is another one who's always flying around the field on defense. I think that those two, and the rest of the team will really turn this thing around. Excited for them. And last but not least, we have Lake Erie College football. Lake Erie College football, the team that everybody has a question mark about, everybody's wondering about. A team that has historically struggled. It has not been great, since Lake Erie started football. We're coming off a 2-9 season. This will be the second year for head coach Dave Price. This will be his first full year to implement his culture and recruit, get his coaching staff in place, and really just ramp his team up. So with that said, I'm very excited for this team going into the new year, going into the new season rather, because they've had, a bit of time to actually start to, turn this thing around the way they want to. So I know they reloaded the offense. We lost some key players on offense. We lost our quarterback, our center, both graduated, key wide receiver to the transfer portal. We got a new wide receiver coach who I think will help, bolster our offense and, keep that room tight where it needs to be. It's always a tough room to work with, the receivers. And then the defense, didn't lose a ton of guys on defense. Lost some linebackers, so a couple of key positions to fill there. We got a lot of young talent and some great kids from the transfer portal. I know we got a Big Ten kid from Purdue who transferred in, who hopefully will make an impact, as well as some young kids coming up that are real hungry for that position, and some returning kids that are hungry for it as well. So it's an exciting time for our defense. I know we're bolstered by a new defensive coordinator, Alex Gray. He's got a wealth of experience, really excited to have him, and I know he's going to help solidify our defense and build that young core. Our defense is really young. That's exciting to me. That means that, these kids have room to grow. We're not, exactly where they want to be yet, but that's a good thing in my mind, especially if a team's rebuilding. So a lot of returners coming back on defense, a lot of youth on defense. Off the top of my head, I can't think of a single senior that will probably be contributing quite a bit, maybe one or two now that I think about it, but really exciting time there. So, reloaded offense. Defense is bolstered with the new coach, the recruits, and then the returners. And they had one hell of an offseason. I think this was, looking back at my time as a strength coach, I think this was one of my better off seasons I've had with the team. We made a lot of progress in the strength department, tons of progress in the speed, and overall just building that team camaraderie and that toughness. The team was in a tough spot last year. We had Notre Dame college kids transferring in, a big group of them. We had the transfer portal kids coming in. We had the freshmen coming in, and then we had the old guard that had been here at Lake Erie, all kind of combining into one at camp, trying to figure each other out, trying to build that camaraderie. It was almost impossible. So I'm really excited for this upcoming year because we've had more time. We've had these kids know each other now. They're working as a team. They appreciate each other. They're friends. They're hanging out. They're having a good time just like it should be. So now it's ready to put all that together. New staff, new players, great offseason. Should all combined and equal more wins on the field this year, which I know everybody, whether you're on the team or not, we're all excited about, and we know the value of a good football team at a college. It boosts everything up. So real excited about these guys. I'm a bit biased because I spend more time with them than anyone else, but the way it's looking, the way it's shaping up, it should be a hell of a year for Lake Erie football. So excited about that. Overall, I'm really excited for our fall sports. In general, I think that we have some very good coaches in place. I know Louis is the longest tenured coach. He's been here, I think, 10 years now. But everybody else hasn't been here more than 2 years now. And so that's an exciting mix of, you have your experienced team with more success, and you have some teams that are trying to get to that level. And I truly believe with the people we have in place and what I've seen so far, that they will get to that level. It'll take time. It won't be easy. It never is. But ultimately, I think we'll all be in a good spot for the fall, and then hopefully winter and spring can continue off that success as well. So this is my podcast. This is a quick preview for the upcoming fall sports season. I'm really looking forward to seeing all the success after seeing all the work that these teams have put in through the past spring and into the summer, and really just looking forward to it all. So thanks for listening. Appreciate your time, and roll on, go Storm.